Just a second. Good evening, everyone. To the online students, am I audible and visible? Please tell me. Okay. Thank you. So in today's class, the class is about mains answer writing. This whole series is about mains answer writing. And it is not just about answer writing, because once you know what to write, only then you know what to study. Right? So in the beginning, am I audible or not? Please tell me once more. Yes. So thank you, Sachi. Right? So it is not just about what to write, because once you know what to write, only then you know what to study. Right? For example, let us say this is modern Indian history we are talking about. Today we will try to cover modern history as well as geography, right? Because till now someone talked about prelims. You appeared in the prelims, right? How many of you did appear in the prelims? All of you, almost, right? Barring one. So what do you study in modern history? Can someone tell me? What do you study in modern history? All of you, I think, have elementary knowledge of at least your class notes or spectrum, or maybe both, right? This is the basic minimum. Na? So just tell me the topics. What do you study? Online students, try to tell me in the comments. What do you study in, let us say, history books or history notes? Volume is low. Am I audible now? Rohan, am I audible? Because someone is saying volume is low. Yes, let's start. So tell me, what do you study? British policies, very good. Sorry? Tribal and agricultural revolts, very good. Then advent of Europeans, very good. This is where most of you start, right? Advent of Europeans. Then Indian national movement, starting from where? We can, let us say, start from the formation of Indian National Congress and then till 1947, right? So INC we see. Then we move to, which topic we move to then? Gandhi era, yes. Moderate extremist before that, very well said. So this is how you are studying, na? You started from advent of Europeans, then you came to the Plassey, then you came to Buxar, then regulating acts, 1857 revolt, right? Some charter acts, right? Model elementary reforms, and you move forward, NCM, CDM, all those things, and Act of Independence. So this is, but UPSC in mains examination especially, they are not asking like that. And if you do not know what they are asking, whatever you will be studying it maybe for the knowledge purpose, but you will not be able to utilize that knowledge in the examination hall. That will not be possible. You will not be able to generate more points in the body of the answer. Even if you generate the points, what are the problems you will be facing? Either you will generate less points, or you will generate random points, right? And sometimes you won't be able to generate points, not at all. You will feel like, I know the topic, I understand the topic, but I still cannot write the answer. And all of you, that is why most of you do not do answer writing practice. What do you think? When you go to, let us say, write a test, what do you think? Why do you people, and I'm sure at least all of you once in your life have skipped a UPSC answer writing test or answer writing assignment? Isn't that true? Yes. Please increase the volume. Please increase the volume, bhai. Okay, Sai Rishita, we are increasing the volume, right? So what is what is that stopping you from writing mains answers? What is that one thing? Do you always feel like I'm not prepared? That is the thing that stops you, that I am not prepared, I do not have the content, have not done enough revisions, I have not made my notes. Let me complete the syllabus one last time. After that, I will start writing. And again, you see the mains test, and again, you have a phobia or a fear of writing. That phobia or that fear is not because you lack content, because twice or thrice after 2 revisions or 3 revisions, you were able to write good answers in schools and colleges. Why not now? So it is not just the lack of content. Sometimes, most of the times, it is also lack of the content as well, but not that factor alone. Right? At least you should be able to write something. If someone has read Spectrum and that person is going to attempt the prelims, that person has the knowledge. Right? So what is stopping them? So I'll tell you what is stopping them. It is most probably you are not reading the correct way. You are not reading in the correct way. Introduction we will talk about later, but here first focus on these. What UPSC is asking. I keep saying it, I told it in the last class also. So UPSC mainly ask questions. Either they will ask, as you said in the beginning, impact of British policies. Right? This is what they will be asking you. This is one theme. The another theme will be personalities. Have you seen question PYQs? You will see Gandhi, Nehru, Tagore, Subhas, everyone's name there. UPSC mains PYQ. Compare Gandhi with Tagore. This year Jyotiba Phule question. So they ask questions on personalities as well. Apart from that, they ask question on ideologies, moderates and extremes, revivalists and reformists, communism, Marxism, right? Gandhi had a different ideology, Subhash had a different ideology. So that they also cover. Then what they ask about contribution of a section of a people in Indian freedom struggle or Indian independence, right? And that section of people can be women, foreigners, right? Military, merchants. So they can go all a long way, right? Apart from that, they ask question about events, major historical events or revolts or movements, right? This is how they are asking questions. So now tell me, does any one of you have ever thought of studying modern history that, okay, today I will only cover impact of British policies, because UPSC might ask one question in mains from this topic. Has any one of you tried doing that? Or let us say today I will try covering contribution of a section of different people, because this is where UPSC is asking the question, right? You are reading all these themes together, mixing with one another, right? There will be impact of British policies, and that is why there will be these events and revolts will be happening. These personalities will be leading these events, right? The ideology is mostly the ideologies of historical personalities, and this section of population will be participating in these events. So everything is interlinked, but what UPSC will ask in mains, they will dissect it, and then they will ask just a particular theme. They will frame a question in such a manner that you should be able to analyze that historical event or anything, and you should be able to dissect it properly so that you can answer that one particular aspect. That is their motto. They are checking your analysis skills, right? So when you try to read from the next time, you should know what are these themes. This is only the ABCD of reading. Okay, now you know what to study from mains perspective. But the point is, how much to study? What to study, though we have gotten, but how much to study? That we can only infer by analyzing PYQs and arriving at a certain framework or certain template for answer writing, template for point generation for each of these things that we will be covering in this class. So going forward, I will be giving you templates for each thing that you can, let us say most of the times student ask questions that, sir, how can I attempt one question or such a question of which I do not know the answer, right? Most of the time, sometimes I feel like I have read this topic, but I exactly do not know what to write in the answer. So the template will help you in point generation. Because what is the purpose of these answer writing templates? What will be the purpose? The purpose is that they will make your thought process in a well structured manner. If you can think in a structured manner, that structure will replicate on the piece of the paper, that will be seen or mirrored on the piece of the paper, right? So let's begin. This was just the introduction. First we will see the introduction types, right? Just one second. First we will see the introduction type. So how to introduce in history questions? First is you can use a quote, right? You can use a quote. And quote of not, I'm not saying that use a quote of Gandhi to introduce Ambedkar, right? Rather than you should use a quote given by current PM, current personalities, right? Here you can talk about PM's quote, if you can find that in newspaper, or we can say president's quote, or any public figure, or any historians also, Bipin Chandra, right? Sumit Sarkar. So we can use all of these kind of historians, their quotes, what they have. So whenever you come across such a quote, please note it down. You can either use it in body, or definitely you can use in introduction as well as conclusion, right? So introduction, you can use that if it sets the context. Then contextual setting. So what is contextual setting? Any historical event, right, is actually born out of a situation that was surrounding that event. So there might be some context, there might be some preceding events, right? There might be numerous preceding events for non-cooperation movement or for revolt of 1857. For easy context, you can understand that, right? There might be many preceding events, and then there will be one triggering factor, right? So that's how those moments or those events or those revolts start. So you can give a brief historical context that, okay, this happened before that. You can give a brief overview and make a good introduction, right? Another is definition, right? For example, if it is about a certain policy, doctrine of lapse, then maybe you can define it along with who started it, right? Two nation theory, maybe you can give a brief overview, a brief definition, a brief explanation, and who was the, let us say, who gave it, right? Who was the mastermind behind it? We can mention that. Another is counterintuitive. Counterintuitive is something I will explain later with examples as well. It is like you explain a historical figure or a historical event in a paradoxical manner, because every person or every event has both sides, the good side as well as some level of limitations, right? So you can start with that paradoxical nature. We will see the examples of each one, don't worry, right? Then some data that will bring the credibility. Let us say it is about Bengal famine. You can start with how many people died, to show the magnanimity, to show the, let us say, scale of that devastation that this event caused. Or if it is about Jallianwala Bagh, you can again start with how many people died, right? If it is about, let us say, drain of wealth, you can give a fact figure in today's context, how many billion trillion dollars were looted by Britishers, right? That will set the good context. Then, okay, now we will see some examples for each. Yes, here we are, right? So the quote, let me zoom it for first because it might not be visible to online students. Now I think it will be visible. Online students, is it visible? Pranjal, these classes are being held in 7B hall number 1. Is it hall number 1? Yes, 7B hall number 1. So now let us see this. The quote. Sorry. Just because I have to zoom it, that is why it is taking a little bit time. So here you look, the quote. Generations to come will scarce believe that such one Einstein's quote on Gandhi. You could have started with that because he was not associated with the freedom struggle, but someone appreciating of the personality that was involved in freedom struggle, that is huge. And again, he is a big figure as well, right? On Quit India movement, we can do this. You can give a brief context what happened. Japanese invasion was there, Bengal price index, you can see about the inflation, Bengal famine, all those things. Cripps mission was a failure, Congress patience has exhausted. So you will be writing all the events or whatever was happening, all the stakeholders, how they were exhausted, what was their state of mind, or what were they trying to do, the situation, the whole situation you will try to explain. Definition, fragmented polity, this is a 18th century India, this is a PYQ. All of the examples are PYQ examples. You explain what a fragmented polity is. What does it mean by fragmented polity when we talk about in the context of mid 18th century? Right? There was no clear one big power, right? There were small kingdoms. So you give a little bit of definition or explanation. Then what we have, counterintuitive. Now, history rarely allows the same individual to be both architect and the arsonist. Arsonist means who burns something, right? Yet Dalhousie was precisely this paradox. The Governor General who gifted India its railways, telegraph, and postal reforms also enacted policies that ignited 1857. So you started with a paradoxical personality, that he was doing some reforms, but what happened? He also brought some policies which were the main root cause of this big event, that is revolt of 1857. Then data. India's share of world GDP fell from 23% to 4%. That shows a drain of wealth, right? What not to write in an introduction? I keep repeating it. Do not rephrase. Please do not rephrase the statement of the question. Also, for beginners, I suggest not to try a significance-based introduction. They try to highlight the significance. I say avoid it because I have seen thousands of toppers copies and 10,000 of students copies. So what happens when you write significance? People write it, and some people will be write it good also, but the problem that will arise here, the significance based introduction, they become very generic, very generalistic, very vague, right? They can be copy pasted from one event to another event. 1857 revolt was a watershed moment in the history of India. Same can be said about NCM, CDM, Jallianwala Bagh. Do you get my point? So that significant, it will become very hard for you to write a distinctive significance, right? Significance at that point of time you can write, but overall general, what students make mistake, they try to make it very generalistic, very generic. So it becomes hard for them sometimes to find the context of that significance. So that is why I say you can avoid it. Although if you are good at it, go with it, right? But again, never rephrase the statement of the question. Now we will be talking about some value addition. Value addition, what kind of value addition you have to do in the body part. After value addition, we will be talking about conclusions, and after conclusions, we will be talking about the themes that I showed you in the very beginning, and particular template for each theme that you need to study, or when you make notes on those template only, and when you write answers, you should remember those templates so that you can generate points, right? So another is this detail framework, right? This for value addition, or to, let us say, substantiate your point. To substantiate your point, it is very helpful, because otherwise you will be writing, let us say, very vague points, right? Very general points. So what is, you should be mentioned dates, D for dates, right? Okay, let me zoom in for a for online students. So the details that you have to give, these are these details. First, you should write dates, specific years, because it's history, right? You cannot just write it happened in 1920s. You have to be very precise that, okay, this event happened in 1922, right? Events, name events, right? Don't write generic protests. For example, Mahad Satyagraha, Ambedkar's protest. Here you will be writing Ambedkar protest. This is generic, right? But this is a specific, right? Then thinkers or historians like Majumdar, Bipin Chandra, Sumit Sarkar, all those things, all those people, Romila Thapar, right? If you know their view, if you know their quote, try to inculcate in your answers, in introduction, somewhere in the body part, or if not in the body part, there will be parts of the body, then between one part to another part, or maybe in the conclusion, right? Then what we have, analogies. Analogies means you compare it with comparative references. Like Ghulam Giri, he compared American slavery, caste, Jyotiba Phule. Right? That was a comparison. So when you give comparative analysis, when you make one analogy to another analogy, that makes your answer a little bit more authentic. Now the examiner thinks that you are not just cramming history, you understand history. You know what it means, right? Another thing is Bengal famine, Irish famine, right? And also here you are giving international reference. That strengthens your case that you are a well-read person. Then institutions you can mention, specific institutions you have to mention. All India Trade Union Congress, right? Shatya Shodhak Samaj, HSRA, Bhagat Singh and all. Then literature, again, when there is a personality, or if the context suits you, you have to give the references of the books, of the, let us say, journals written by the history or historical personalities, right? Annihilation of caste, discovery of India, poverty and British rule, young India. So all these are written by historical personalities, right? So the more you use them, you can easily remember it by the mnemonic detail: dates, events, thinkers, analogies, institutions, and literature. Once you try to remember, let us say, recite it 2-3 times, and it will be within your, it will become your muscle memory. It will be very easy for you to. Or what we can do, we can also give some British admissions. Here, Attlee himself admitted unreliable loyalty of Indian armed forces after the INA trials as key factor in Britain's decision to leave. If the question is about INA, role of INA in independence, right? Or vernacular, Ulgulan, Birsa Munda's revolt, Hool, Santhal uprising, Prati Sarkar, parallel governments. So what they were called, what these events were specifically called in small areas, in small pockets where they were happening. In English, there is only one word, revolt, right? But for us, it might have different words. Why? Because we have so much diversity in language. So if you use that vernacular touch, if that will give you little bit advantage over other people. Again, revolt becomes generic, but Olgulan becomes specific, right? Let me zoom out it. Okay, now I think yes. So here now I think this is done, na? Yes. Now you can see just the examples. Let us say this is a vague statement written by a student, right? Phule worked for the upliftment of Dalit women Shudras. He started schools, wrote books, criticized caste system, dominance of Brahmins in the society. One paragraph and written in paragraph format, examiner will see it, might give some marks, might not give some marks, right? Then what we have here, institutions, literature, organization, practical reform, theory. So everything you did that into point wise, you broke that paragraph into different dimensions. Let me zoom it for the online audience. Is it visible now? So this example is generic, this is specific. That is all. Moving on to the next. Now we are talking about maps and diagrams and flowchart, right? So either let us say this one, so you should make a map at least. Each and every one of you should be able to make India's map. Online students also. Online students also, please. Anshika, is it okay now? The text, can you look at it? I have zoomed it. So please tell me, okay, is this much zoom fine? Okay, Nitesh, okay. So the Great Revolt key centers, right? If the question is about, you have to do the geographical spread of the movement or the key center that you are showing. You should be able to make a map, right? Why I have kept it in red? Because this is not a good practice. Some people write it like this. What you should be able to do, you should be able to make India's map and show the extent on the map itself, right? And this is how this is, all of you try to make a map. Online students also, make India's map. At least here you will practice. Make India's map in your books, please. You're just listening to me. Activate in some participate in some activity. Priya, you should always 99% of the time write your answer in point-wise format. Introduction and conclusion in paragraph, but rest of the answer, it is better you write in point-wise format. You made the map? Make it once more. Come on. Do some practice. At least try making India's map, at least whatever framework. When you see these beautiful flow charts in toppers copies and you think like, I cannot make it, because the toppers, they have practiced this almost 1,000, not 1,000, if at least let us say 20 to 30 times. 1,000 would be an exaggeration, right? But at least 5 to 10 times they do. Sometimes even more than 10, 15, they go up to that limit, right? That is their hard work and dedication. So try to make it map, simple flow chart, simple diagrams. You will see that how can a topper think of such a flow chart in under 7 minutes and write 15 points as well? Because they have practiced it. For them, that flow chart or that diagram is just a work of 15 seconds. If you can make India's map in 15 seconds, you're good to go. If you have not been able to do that, keep practicing. Then evolution of Indian nationalism. This you can make. This you can make. Here it is vertical, but you should make, in my opinion, in horizontal format. This is a flow chart. You will say moderates, then we went to extremist, and then Gandhian phase. Just after the introduction, whenever you try to make some value addition, most of the times, or at least 70 to 80% of the time, it will be just below the introduction. It will be more of the context of the statement of the given in the statement of the question, or some kind of value addition that you will be making just after the introduction, before the body. Try to switch in a diagram, or try to fit in, let us say, a flow chart between introduction and body. Okay. I think this is now again 3 phases of British economic exploitation, right? You can see these. Try to make these. Gandhiji's constructive program. This one. Gandhiji's constructive program. Make it as a hub and spoke model. Make it as a hub and spoke model. That is your duty. Try to make it. Khadi, charkha, prohibition, village industries, sanitation, Nai Talim, anti-untouchability, women upliftment, Hindu-Muslim unity. Make it. Come on. Okay, I'm zooming it. This one I want you to make. Online students also make this constructive program, make it in hub and spoke model. Please do that. It's an exercise that you should be taking. And make it very quick. You're delaying it. Come on. Is the Zoom fine now? For now? The board is shining. Yes, the board is shining because of the lights. For that, I cannot do anything. So all of us made hub and spoke model. Did you do that? Practice done? Very good. Very good, Shri Chandra. Very good. Right? So this is how you will be making flowcharts and diagrams, right? Now let's come to some mnemonics. Mnemonics that you can use. Let me zoom in first before anyone, because I forget and people are having some trouble. Okay. Right? I hope it is visible now. Please tell me, is it visible, online students? So this is the mnemonic, right? P for political when you generate dimensions. This is just general mnemonic I'm giving you. It is not the theme wise yet. I will be giving you theme wise as well. But if you do not have any other area that what to do, then political, what are the examples? Doctrine of lapse, annexations. Economic, heavy revenue, deindustrialization. Military, greased cartridges. We are talking about 1857 revolt. Pay disparity, social religious, missionary fears, sati abolition. So they were seeing it as a interference in their own religion. Very good. Ideological, loss of British moral legitimacy. Leadership, Bahadur Shah, Nana, Rani, Kumar Singh, right? Rani Lakshmi Bai. Where was Kumar Singh? Give. Ara, very good. At least you have read Spectrum. Very good. Right? Psychological, racial humiliation, right? And then local rebellions. So this is how you can go. This is in respect to only, I have given you only one example. But any historical event, you can try to think on these lines. Or scramb, when it comes to ideologies. How many ideologies mostly were involved in India's freedom struggle? They were socialist, communist, revolutionary, Ambedkarite, militant nationalism, bourgeois nationalism. Mostly these, right? But when it comes to, my favorite one still remains, when it comes to impact of British policies, what do you do then? The impact of British policies will be covered here. Right? Can you see it? Dear family, this was the impact. I hope you can remember this one. D for drain, drain of wealth was happening. E for economic exploitation, agrarian distress, revenue burden, famines, artisans were declining, military domination, infrastructure, railways, post, communication, everything, legal control, IPC and all those, right? And yearnings of resistance. Why is for resistance? The revolts we are talking about here, right? Because people wanted to revolt, or the princely states, the military, everyone, the middle class, they wanted to resist against all of these British policies, right? But these are very, I would say, easy and beginner friendly mnemonics that you can use. We will go deeper also, don't worry. Has everyone noted it down? Yes, it will be available on YouTube, but it might not. We'll have to see that. Sometimes they keep it uploaded, sometimes they don't. The second one, scram you are talking about, Ruth? Scram, the ideologies, okay. The socialist, the communist, the revolutionary, Ambedkarite, militant nationalism, and bourgeois nationalism, middle class nationalism, or let us say rich people's nationalism in Indian context. In French context, that would be middle class, but in Indian context, it would be upper middle class. So scram is socialist, communist, revolutionary, Ambedkarite, and two types of nationalism. Okay, we can zoom out. Now, conclusion templates. Let us see some conclusions also before diving deep into themes, right? So what kind of conclusions do you want? The conclusion, why conclusions are important? Why conclusions are important? Online students, why conclusions are so important? Yes, examiner is giving marks there. Again, give me more than that. Summary, okay, we will talk about summary as well. For summary, okay, the essence of the answer, okay. So all of you take it, understand it like this by analogy. All of you have seen movies. Dhurandhar was a recent very hit movie. How many of you have seen Dhurandhar? Quite a few. All right, very good. So what if I do not show you the last 30 minutes of that movie? How would you feel? That is nearly a 4-hour movie. You have seen 3 hours and 30 minutes of it. You will feel the movie is incomplete, right? And what if the climax was very third class, very bad? What would you do then? You would say कि movie was okay, but climax ruined everything for you, right? So same, your conclusion works like in that manner. If you do not write it, examiner will think that the answer is incomplete. So an incomplete answer will only fetch incomplete marks. You are not going to get full marks. And again, if it is bad, then it will ruin the mood of the examiner. Ki मजा नहीं आया, so था, right? So that is how it is. And what happens if I, in the last half an hour, just tell you whatever happened in the movie till now and give you a brief, let us say, summary of that? What would you do? You'll be like, यार ये सब देख चुका हूँ. Why are you wasting my time? Right? So never write summary as a conclusion, especially in 150 word answer or 250 word answer. Summary can be a conclusion in essays, because in essay you are writing 12 pages. So you might want to take last one page to remind the examiner of all the good things that you have written in that essay. That is acceptable there. But in GS papers, it is not a good practice. Okay? Because you are not giving anything new. You are wasting the space given to you. You are wasting examiner's time. So we will avoid summarizing the answer. It was good till schools and colleges. Now we are not going to do that. The examiner remembers everything. You have only written 150 words. In fact, the examiner remembers last 3 answers. So why are you giving him the summary? Right? So let us see the conclusions. First, let me zoom in. Now, what you can do, past, present, future, bridge. Link any past event to present time, and you can go up to the future as well. That's what we are going to achieve in the future, right? So from Tolstoy farm, you have read this, to Sabarmati ashram, to Sevagram. Gandhi's experiments were never just about freeing India from British, but about freeing humanity from itself. In an age of climate collapse, digital alienation, the charkha spins as urgently as ever. Right? You can write this conclusion, any student can write this conclusion even 10 years later. Another type we can see, constitutional values you can link with. Constitutional values, right? The preamble's promise of justice, social, economic, political remains unfinished business of Phule's plow. Phule's plow and Ambedkar's pen. Each generation must water the sapling they planted. Who planted the sapling? The freedom fighters. So it is our duty to water that plant, so that we can realize the constitutional values, the constitutional vision, the values of freedom struggle. So you link them to present. So what we are doing here, we are actually bringing the values that were given in the freedom struggle, that were taught to us in the freedom struggle, we are showing their contemporary relevance. What we did, we showed their contemporary relevance. Very good. Now, paradox, again Dalhousie. Whenever you see, this is good. This is good for those personalities which are, let us say, not Indian. It is not good to criticize Indian personalities, right? Whether you like that personality or you do not like that personality. Some people might like Gandhi, some people might not. Some people might like Savarkar, some people might not. But that ideology should not reflect on the piece of the paper. Okay? For foreigners, especially Britishers, you can use these. So what Dalhousie wanted? He wanted a stronger empire, right? But accidentally built a stronger India. The railways laid to extract wealth eventually carried revolutionaries. The English education he imposed produced empowers grave diggers. Right? Gandhi was an English educated lawyer. And who was a bigger grave digger for British Empire than him? So all of them, that English education, it actually united whole of India. The railways again united whole of India. The post again united. Now the revolutionaries in different areas can communicate through a common language, right? So it actually strengthened the freedom struggle. Then what we have, forward looking, right? From Rani Lakshmibai's sword to Arna Asaf Ali's hidden radio, Indian women did not merely participate in freedom, they redefined it. The journey from 15 women in Constituent Assembly, now this is good, 15 women in Constituent Assembly to today's reservation in legislatures is a continuation of the same march. That march towards freedom or towards equality, it's still going on, right? Or quote, we can quote, as Tagore wrote, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. This is written by Tagore. Independence was never a destination, but a horizon. Have anyone tried walking towards horizon? Horizon is where we feel that sky is meeting the earth. So we see that, but we can never reach that, right? So freedom, actually, what we are doing, it is not a destination. Our every step should be towards that freedom only. Freedom from corruption, from inequality, from patriarchy. There are so many social evils, right? From environmental destruction. So through these quotes, basic idea is that in any how you use, you will somehow show the relevance of those ideas in contemporary times. I can make 5 different types, but one essence theme will remain. Or you can show how watershed or how, let us say, important that event was in that point of time at history, right? Some moments have been pretty watershed or pretty moment that they serve as a fuel for next phase of struggle, right? So that you can also show. Yes, Navya, we can do that. We can start with the quote, end with the quote, but the condition is both of these things should be relevant, right? Now, I will call upon Sachi ma'am, and Sachi ma'am will be giving you a little bit of geography also to mix everything so that you know what to study in geography as well. I have never been a big fan of reading only one subject, right? A student for me is more like a school or a college student who reads multiple topics every day. It is only UPSC where you come and you say, okay, today for next 3 days, I will only do polity. Your brain will be saturated this way, right? From one subject only. So it is better to pick up multiple subjects, right? So Sachi ma'am is a ranker, you all know that. So she will be telling you some of her geography wisdom, and then I will continue. If the time permits, if the time does not permit, then this week and itself, the next weekend itself, we will pick up the themes. We will delve deeper into the themes. That is actually, I can show you. I have the content on the next page. We are starting the themes itself, right? First, we will be dealing with historical events, right? Then we will be dealing with, okay, this is not going, I don't know. Okay, then personalities we will deal. Then we will deal with contribution of sections. These were the topics. Then we were going to do impact of British policies, and in the end, ideological or intellectual things. Okay, but before that, let's welcome Sachi ma'am. Sachi ma'am, please come. Himanshu.
Hello everyone. Am I audible, online students? Please confirm. Please confirm, Ravindran, Rahul. Okay. So, how are you all? Given prelims, right? One tip is that do not lose hope. It's fine. I've also given 23 wala attempt and I know how it feels. But don't lose hope and keep studying. Keep putting the efforts. If you have decided to put your years and your hard work into this preparation, just don't give up. I very well understand. I have given 6 to 7 years of my life to this examination and I know how it feels. But still, just do yourself. If you decide, okay, I do not want to do this preparation, then also it's fine. It's a very courageous, I think those people who quit the preparation before their attempts gets exhausted, I think they are the most courageous people, because UPSC is an addiction. It does not let you come out of itself. So, but if you have decided to go for it, then also just keep putting the efforts. Give next year attempt as your last attempt. Do not think that no, we have so many attempts. Believe me, you do not have many. Where this cycle will take you, you do not know. Okay, so for geography, how I decided to go with it is, I would not make it very long. Okay, tell me how many parts are there in geography? Like physical geography and human and economic geography. How I have approached it, I have made notes out of every section under physical geography. And for those particular sections, I have prepared that, okay, if a question comes from, let's say, oceanography, these will be the topic I'll be preparing. And if a question comes from any of these topics, these are the points I'll definitely write. Because geography is a static subject. If you know it, you know it. If you do not know it, it will be very difficult for you to generate the points. Okay? So let's start. The first is physical geography. Tell me the major topics under physical geography. Climatology. Okay. Oceanography. Geomorphology. And say it now. गलत ही तो होगा, it's fine. क्या? Okay. In mains paper, you should also study about cryosphere. For mains, you should also study about water resources. And finally, ecosystem, biodiversity. Understood? Mountains under geomorphology only, Shivani. So these are the 6 topics, broad topics, based on which you will be preparing your mains geography. And for each of these topics, I have prepared some or the other, let's say, mnemonics or ways to remember the topics which are important. And if a question comes on any of those topics, how you will be approaching it, what points you should write under it. But please keep that in mind, that the keywords under those topics would be your knowledge, would be your content. I can tell you that, okay, you should write the movements of the plates. But how those plates are moving, though, that you should be knowing about. Okay? Okay. Now this I have made based on the PYQs. Based on the PYQs, I have identified the themes or the topics which are important. The PYQs here cover from 2013 to 2025 paper. I'll not be going with each of the questions. I am here to just give you a broad answer writing templates or answer writing framework. Okay? So, geomorphology. Under this, what UPSC is generally asked: continental drift, fold mountains, mantle plume, circum-Pacific, and all such things. Okay? Now, if I have to prepare this topic, I generated a keyword was FIVED Fived C. Yes, I'll share. Maybe in the YouTube first comment, or I'll attach the PDF. Fived C. And each of this word, based on that, I have identified it that F is the forces, I is the interior structure, V is the vertical or horizontal movements of what? The plates. E is the evidence. Evidence of what? The theories, you remember? D is the distribution pattern. And C is the consequences or the contemporary relevance, or how we see today what has gone into that. Understood? So if a particular question comes on it, if a question comes on, let's say, continental drift, if a question comes on fold mountains, if a question comes on mantle plume, if a question comes on primary rocks, on volcanoes, can we follow it? That what force went to it? What sort of changes in the interior structure happened? What type of movement was there? Vertical, horizontal, lateral? What was the evidence in that regard? And the distribution pattern? And finally, the consequence of it. The consequence of it was mantle plume, volcano, or any other, the theme that has been asked. It's not that you do not know about it. It's just that I have given you a way of thinking. That, okay, if a question will come, I have to think from that perspective. Fived C, what is F? Force. What is I? So in that way, you can just remember it. I'll go much detail into that aspect as well for each of the word here. What is the driving force here? The interior structure link. You have to link into the interior structure, because whatever is happening above the land, some or the other thing has been occurred below the land. Especially in a subject like geomorphology. Types of plate boundary. Which plate boundary? If anything is happening, the significance or the role of plate boundary has to be there. We are talking about the geomorphology. Landform outcomes. What has happened because of it? Is there any evidence for the same? What sort of cycle integration or rock cycle has been gone into it? It's all connected. You must have studied about it. It's all connected. Then formation mechanism. Then finally the contemporary relevance. Okay? Understood? So I'm not saying that these 10 points you can apply anywhere in your questions. I'm saying you can definitely pick 6 to 7 points from this. In a pressurized situation, when a question comes on a simple topic like volcano, it's very difficult for you to even think. When you have to write in 7 minutes time. But if you have a proper framework in your mind, then it will be easier. Once you start writing, once एक बार आपने force सोच लिया, everything gets sorted out. Force पे बस थोड़ा सा force लगाना है, and it's done. Understood? Next is climatology. Now the questions under climatology from 2013 has been around heat islands, temperature inversion, cyclone naming, El Nino, hot desert, monsoon Asia, southwest monsoon, Purvaiya, SST cyclone. What is SST? Sea surface temperature. Cloud burst, twisters, aurora. Okay. Now for this, I have made a mnemonic of office. After having a basic reading of geography, you must be knowing that, okay, if this question has come, it has come from which theme? Is it under geomorphology or climatology or oceanography? If you are able to identify it, just think of this mnemonic. Okay, office. From O, it is the origin or cause. From F, it is the fuel or feeding mechanism. What fuel went into this particular thing? From another F, it is the formation process, where you will be simply telling that the formation process, the whole life cycle of it, in a very simplistic terms. From from I, it will be impact zones. The impact zones of what? That, okay, if hot desert is there, on what particular basis hot desert will be founded? Like on eastern or western? What is the effect of continentality? Why it is on that particular zones only? So the impact zones, you'll be talking about that as well. From C, you'll be talking about the consequences. In geography, what we generally do in mains is we only write it as a very static paper. We only write the static points, but always try to show the consequences of that. And I would suggest you to write consequences not only from the physical geography perspective, also write consequences from human and economic geography. How? Let's say if a particular formation of mountain, this is consequences mountain, like the submergence and all such thing. Mountain has been found. It is the consequence of physical geography. What is the human and economic geography consequence? Benefits it has made by biodiversity, by tourism potential. Okay, think of Aravallis, how it is stopping the desertification from moving from one aspect to other. The recent Rajasthan sand storm that happened, the significance of Aravalli was highly regarded. How it didn't let the sandstorm to come to the other north region. So think of all such things, and I would suggest you to mention it as well. Like the recent Aravalli, it was in the news. Indian Express explained wala section. It specified that, okay, how much Aravallis are important. So if a question comes on mountains and if you are mentioning the consequences, will you not write this? Will it not give you a better edge over other students who will be only writing about the physical geography? Mountains ban gaye, sabko pata hai ban gaye. What after that? Application should be shown. And from C, extreme variations or anomalies. We see that as well. Exceptions are always there. So you can mention that as well. Understood? Tell me, recite with me. Office O, F, second F, I, C, and E, extreme variations or anomalies. Okay, so if a question comes from climatology, think of this mnemonic and you will be able to generate points. Under this as well, I've tried to incorporate other things. Like what was the origin? What was the trigger for that origin? Then the fuel mechanism, then the formation process. So if a question comes on air mass, warm air mass, or anything, then you should write that, okay, what went into that particular formation. Spatial confinement reason, was there any specific area where that particular thing happened? Like in 2024, a question came on Aurora. And the second part of the question was that, I do not remember it correctly, it mentioned that how it is confined to Gulf of Mexico, or what impact does it have at Gulf of Mexico? I do not remember it properly, but you will see the PYQs, you will remember it. Then you have to think that, okay, why it is happening there only? So why it is confined to those regions only? Why cyclones have more chances to occur in the Bay of Bengal rather than Arabian Sea? Why such things or any particular event is happening at that particular location only? So mention the reason of that as well. Monsoon mechanism, you should also link to El Nino. There are very low chances that if a question is on climatology, then it is not linked to El Nino, La Nino, or Enzo in general. Okay? One more point. We are not expecting good monsoon this year. Why? El Nino. Temperature inversion impact. Think of all the geomorphological concept that can cause any impact on the climatology, temperature inversions and such thing. Air mass, extreme event intensity link, mitigation or management angle. If a particular question comes on, let's say, somewhat of disastrous in nature, then you should also write the way forward, how we can mitigate or correct it. Okay? Any issues with it? I think this is the way I wanted to do this. I'm not here to teach or anything. Now, the third pillar of geography is the cryosphere. What is cryosphere? Tell me. It's fine now. Basically, ice formation in very layman terms, though it is much deeper than that, but ice formation and such thing. Okay. So why it is in news? Anyone can tell me? Global warming crisis. So now the focus has been on cryosphere a lot, both by the UPSC and by UPSC aspiring aspirants. So cryosphere, and there are high chances that UPSC might ask it. If not this year, then next year, because it is constantly in news. Arctic is constantly in news. Antarctic is constantly in news. कुछ ना कुछ होता ही रहता है वहाँ पे. Okay, it's like president is in news. कब नहीं होते? Governor is in news. कब नहीं होते? It's like that. It seems that it is current, but it is always static. It is an ever-growing topic. So cryosphere. So if a question comes on cryosphere, and there are chances that if a question comes on cryosphere, it will be specifically regarding the melting of the ice or thawing of the ice, if I have to put it in a very scientific way. Thawing of the ice. So prepare this topic very well. There are high chances that if a question comes on cryosphere, it will be thawing of the ice, and you just write the points that I am telling you. It's done. और कुछ बन ही नहीं सकता इस पे, क्या ही बनाओगे ना? Okay, so the mnemonic is STAMP W. STAMP W. For S, in the introduction, you will be talking about what is the status or the extent of it currently. Then trigger, the cause. Cause of what? Cryosphere. Ice melting. A, albedo effect. You know about albedo effect. People who are preparing for the prelims, leave alone mains appearing student. People who are preparing for prelims also know about albedo. But correct time pe kabhi yaad nahi aata. So prepare this beforehand. Stamp W. As for what is the status or extent, write it in the introduction और कुछ लिखना ही नहीं है. T, what caused it? What has triggered it? A, albedo. Then M, melting consequences, that okay, albedo has been occurred. Then what is the consequence of it? One of the consequences, another keyword, positive feedback loop. Okay. P, what impact it will be having on the people or ecosystem in general. Then W, what is security? Why? Because of the melting of the ice. So a major source of fresh water is being threatened by it. Okay, so you should mention it. Even if the examiner or the question is not pertaining to how it is linked to fresh water, link it, write it. Show your application of mind. The same goes, the examiner will not be asking you the linkage of human or economic geography to physical geography, but I would suggest you to link it. कुछ edge तो दिखाओगे ना साइड वाले इंसान से. It is a competitive examination. No, it does not matter how good you are performing. It's always about better. Okay. Now, detailed. You will be getting some keywords here. So the current status, what is it? Then albedo feedback loop, positive feedback loop linked to albedo effect. Arctic versus Antarctic difference. Majorly कहाँ पे है ice? Arctic or Antarctic. But the melting of the ice and the consequences of this melting are very different on both the sides. So be very aware of it. Himalayan glacier river. UPSC will either ask about Arctic or Antarctic or about the Himalayan ecosystem. उसको नहीं मतलब यूरोप या रशिया में क्या हो रहा है. So prepare these points. Specifically मैंने आपको ये बता दिया, ये पढ़ना है. पढ़ोगे आप ही. GLOF risk. What is GLOF? GLOF. Glacier lake outburst. You cannot miss this point if you are writing about Himalayan ice melting. Especially अब जो incidents हो रहे हैं, it's advisable that you write it. These are the additional points or the sub points of that particular mnemonic. The consequences वाला part. Okay. Sea level rise consequences, permafrost thaw dimensions. How you can also link it to the methane release from permafrost. How you can also link the release of the carbon dioxide from the permafrost. It is happening, no? In fact, it is saying that the major source of carbon dioxide emission or methane emission is from this melting of the permafrost. Because this permanent ice was just, what do I say, subduing the years and centuries of carbon dioxide. And now it is getting released. And believe me, you must not be knowing about it, but methane causes more global warming than carbon dioxide. Anyways, blame to carbon dioxide, but it is the methane that is actually very high, both in frequency and intensity in terms of pollution. Okay. Permafrost thaw dimension, thermohaline disruption. Please mention these points. Thermohaline disruption. Why? Because of cryosphere. Ocean में जो भी चीजें हो रही हैं, you know about it ना, NCERT में है, diagram है बकायदा, वो graph है. Food, water, energy nexus. Another impact of physical geography to the human and economic geography. India-specific policies. Now you can end it with the India-specific policy or any measure that has been taken in that regard. Okay, done. Next theme, oceanography. What questions has been asked? Ocean resources, ocean currents, oceanic stability, dead zone. Ocean currents versus water masses, ocean currents, fishing, coastline resources, SST. Mnemonic is doctor. Again, D for driving forces. O for oceanic properties. Under oceanic properties, what you will be talking about? You will be talking about salinity. You will be talking about temperature. You will be talking about density. 3 sub-points under 1 point. Getting my point? So this will be first. How you will be mentioning second? This will be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. You can add into that. It's not exhaustive. You can add as much as you can. Okay. See circulation patterns. हो रहा है ना? T, tropical or marine, trophic or marine life. We cannot forget it. Another O, opportunities. What opportunities does ocean give in terms of biodiversity? Fishing, tourism, CCUS. You know CCUS? Carbon capture, utilization and storage. Ocean are also one of the important reservoirs for carbon dioxide. And finally, the risk, or what do I mean by risk? The challenges it is facing. Oceans in general. A lot of challenges, right from pollution, right from global warming, right from the melting of the ice, SST, rise of sea level. They are all interconnected. एक की वजह से दूसरा हो रहा है. Understood? Tell me the mnemonic, Dr. D. Always the driving force. What has triggered it? O. Oceanic properties. C. T. Tropic or marine life. O. Opportunities. R. Risk. Opportunities में it is also about polymetallic nodules. India is also exploring it in the Indian Ocean. Now, the further detailed template. Think from the current perspectives. Warm current, cold currents, how it is impacting the fishing industries. Where warm current and cold current meets, it is highly fishing area. Okay. Coral reef, cannot miss it, cannot. Dead zone mechanism, another consequence. Marine resource potential, ocean climate regulator role. Straits and isthmus significance. India's coastal resource dimension. These are all points that you should write. I'm saying not all 10 points can be written, but again, pick at least 6 to 7 points. They can fit in any question if a question comes on from oceanography in general. Okay. Theme, another theme, water resources and freshwater crisis. Scared. Or you can use sacred. Water is sacred. You can remember it from that. In India, we generally consider any river as sacred. Okay. S, always think from the supply side factors. C, always think from the consumption or demand wala side. A, access and distribution inequality or iniquity. Another important theme UPSC is asking. Not everyone is getting the freshwater accessibility, potable water. That's why government introduced Jal Jeevan Mission. R, regional variation. E, environmental degradation linkage. यही तो पूछेगा यूपीएससी, not anything else. D, demand management solution. So we have told supply side, we have told demand side, we have told that okay, what are the limitations in terms of excess and distribution inequity. Then we have talked about regional variations. Then we have talked about the environmental degradation, and finally the solutions. Is it not having a whole answer structure? Is it having? ठीक है, बॉडी का जो भी पूरा फ्रेमवर्क आएगा इट इज द सेम. इश्यूज आते हैं कि वाटर मैनेजमेंट या फिर इन जनरल क्या इश्यूज आ रहे हैं. गिव सप्लाई साइड फैक्टर्स, गिव डिमांड साइड फैक्टर्स, देन टॉक अबाउट हाउ इट इज इम्पैक्टिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सेसिबिलिटी एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, हाउ देयर इज अ रीजनल वेरिएटी, then how environmental degradation is an important contributor to it, and finally what we can do it. Is it not also giving you a framework to prepare your notes on water resources? One heading 5 to 6 points, one heading 5 to 6 points, one heading 5 to 6 points. इसके beyond क्या जाएगा यूपीएससी? It's all about you make your notes and revise it again and again. And revision का ऐसे नहीं होता that I'm asking you to cram it up. What happens after a point of time, let's say after 5 readings, 10 readings, you start to establish linkages within your own notes. कि अच्छा ये चीज यहाँ पे पढ़ रहा हूँ या पढ़ रही हूँ, इससे रिलेटेड तो वो चीज भी है. And that's what is required while you are writing an answer. UPSC will never ask what are the supply side factors. But if you know these factors will some or the other way will become one of your points in any question which is related to water resources. Understood? Now, again, supply side constraint. These are the points in general. You will be getting the PDF, so you will be. I'm not here to again teach. Demand pressure factors, excess and equity dimensions. In excess and equity dimensions, again you can divide it in as many dimensions as possible. In terms of gender, how women are the only ones who has to take the responsibility to go far and fetch water. In terms of urban-rural divide. In terms of regional, Rajasthan versus Northeast. Understood? In terms of caste, class, resources का distribution हमेशा stratified रहा है because of these inequalities. Regional variations, environmental degradation, right? You can write as many points. Desertification, water nexus, interlinking rivers, interlinking both pros and cons. Again, an important theme. You should prepare it. Then solutions. In solutions, you should always write about the traditional water management solutions, traditional water harvesting methods. You should mention about the waterman of India. Take it as a case study, write it as an example. Who revived the jawhards of Rajasthan. Okay. Now, the sixth theme, ecosystem, biodiversity, and environment. Landslides, mountain ecosystem, landslides, Himalayan, mangroves, mountain ecosystem, forest, landslides, natural vegetation, wildlife sanctuary. These are the repeated PYQs that have come under this topic. Ecosystem, biodiversity, and environment. Now, the mnemonic is feast R. For F, you have to talk about the functions or services of what? Of the biodiversity or any particular natural resource. Under services, can you also talk about the 5 ecosystem services that any particular ecosystem gives you? There are 4 services, the provisioning services, regulating services. These are the services. If you have read the basic environment, you must have known it. Okay, F is feast of services. E is ecosystem structure. You should be knowing about it. The major ecosystem structure, how it functions. A is about anthropogenic pressures. S is about sensitivity or vulnerability. And if I have talked about sensitivity or vulnerability or challenges, then will I not be talking about restoration? How we can restore it? And tipping points. What are the tipping points? If you have given prelims, from serious studying, you must be knowing about it. Tipping points. Tipping points are those points where if those points are crossed, then the damage becomes irreversible. There is no coming back from it, no matter what. Like from Paris Agreement, if the temperature is gone above 2 degrees Celsius, then the damage is irreversible. We cannot do nothing beyond that. We cannot even mitigate things or adapt to that. Okay. So understood phi star. Now detailed ecosystem services framework. Whenever a particular question comes on ecosystem services or what are the benefits of any ecosystem, think from the 4 perspectives. The first perspective is provisioning services. Under provisioning, talk of the food, water, timber, whatever you can get from that particular ecosystem. Regulating climate, flood, erosion. If a question comes on, let's say, wetlands, how wetlands are important for the absorption of rainwater, how wetlands are important for the filtration of the nutrients. UPSC also asked question about which part or from the among options which is considered as the kidneys of the nature. Understood? Use this keyword when a question comes on wetlands. If not in point, but at least use it in the conclusion. बहुत बार तो यूपीएससी खुद दे देता है आपको. Any time pick the questions of mains. There you will be getting so much of information, so much of content that can be easily replicable in the conclusions. Because the language that UPSC uses is very formal yet impressive. Okay. First is provisioning services, second is regulating, third is supporting services, and fifth is cultural, in terms of tourism, in terms of spiritual, in terms of livelihood, in terms of preserving tribal culture. Okay. Now, the detailed bullet points: mangrove, forest cover, climate change, mountain ecosystem, landslide. If a question comes up on anything, will you not be able to write question based on this? Phi star. You will be. Done with physical geography. Now, let's talk about human and economic geography. है ना जान? बच्ची है? Okay. Human and economic geography. Again, identified 5 to 6 pillars of human and economic geography. Tell me. Syllabus से ही बता दो. Syllabus पढ़ा है ना? You must have all read the syllabus. Tell me ना, गलत ही तो होगा. इतना क्या डर रहे हो? Okay, leave it. So the first theme is industry. location, pattern, and change. Okay, so if a particular question comes on any particular industry, UPSC generally asks question about it. Every alternate or every third year or fourth year, UPSC asks a question on the industry, any particular industry. So if a question comes on that, then what mnemonic you can be using? You can be using TRAMEC, TRAMEC, where T will be about traditional or historical location logic. So if a particular industry was located at that particular location, why was it? So think of those logics. Like the sugarcane industry. Earlier it used to be concentrated around, currently it is in Maharashtra and all such, UP. All the sugarcane industry used to be there in the UP, but now it is gradually shifting to Maharashtra. Why? Because sugarcane has started to produce in Maharashtra more, and the quality or the gene or such thing is also different from that. So a good extraction can be made from that. So this change, why it has changed? Mention such examples. Sugarcane industry changing from UP to MP, or sorry, Maharashtra. That's it. Itna hi likhna hai. Examiner knows why it is changing. You have to just show that, okay, you also know it. R is raw material excess. A is agglomeration economies. What does it mean? Agglomeration economies? Cluster of industries at a particular place. Why? Because it leverages the economies of scale in terms of availability of labor, in terms of availability of raw material, in terms of transportation of the ready-made product to the market. Everything is concentrated. Supporting machineries. So agglomeration economies. So if a question comes on industry, drop these words. M, market accessibility. E, evolution or shift. Why the particular industry, or in what manner this particular industry is evolving. Now, C, contemporary factors. Is there any upgradation in the technology? Is there any upgradation in the skills of the people there? What is happening? The contemporary factors there. Okay. So, understood this? TRAMEC, it has given you some keywords you can use. Okay. Now the bullet points. Shift away from raw material, agglomeration economies, cotton textile decentralization, rubber industry, industrial. You have a lot of factors that you know that goes into the location of that particular industry. It's just that I've given you a framework. These are all the examples of why rubber industry is there, what is industrial corridors, petroleum, cotton. You know all these things. It's just that I've given you a framework. Again, you know all of it. Basic NCERT of 11th, and you know it. 11th and 12th. उसके beyond मैंने कुछ पढ़ा भी नहीं था. You must be having your class notes or something. So future industry, industry 4.0. Why there is an evolution or shift? Industry 4.0, green manufacturing, China +1 strategy. You will incorporate the international angle as well. Okay. PLI scheme, Make in India. Make it a more holistic. Don't just restrain yourself to geographical factors only. Think from the international perspective. What major changes government is bringing? Okay. Second theme, energy resources, both conventional and non-conventional. Mnemonic is parade. In this way only you have to prepare your notes as well. In this particular format only. Okay. Parade, P for potential or reserves, that where a particular resource can be found. Where are the reserves of, where are the potential reserves? Like the lithium in Kashmir, Himalayan, same thing. So there is a lot of potential. A, availability and distribution, how much it is available. If it is available, how much or to what extent it has been distributed. Are reasons for current status. If we have found so much of lithium in Kashmir, जो इतना hype हुआ था, why we are so much still dependent on other countries to import it for our lithium batteries? There must be some reasons for the same, no? So reasons for current status. If it is good, why so? If it is wrong, why so? A, advantages. What are the positives of that particular resource? Next, D, disadvantages or challenges in extracting it. Do we not have enough technology to extract it properly? Right, scientific reasons for the same. Okay, so if we are not able to extract lithium or such thing, why we are not able to do that? Earthquake prone zone, or any geographical reason that it is mixed with some or the other ore, and that's why it is very difficult to extract it in its absolute form. Okay, this is the geographical reasons. Of course, earthquake is also. And E is energy transition roadmap. If a question comes on conventional resources, then of course you have to show that how we should move towards the non-conventional or renewable resources. If a question is on renewable resources, then you should tell that, okay, how we need to leverage it or elevate it further. And link it to the, ultimately, the SDGs or our climate or Panchamrit goals. Another, a bit of detailed. These points are mainly on the PYQ based only. Okay. So India's energy mix status, you can mention it, how much we are planning and how much it is currently. Second is solar energy, wind energy, coal, shale gas, energy security framework. These are important. Energy security framework, availability, accessibility, affordability, acceptability. 4 A's can be used in the conclusion. 4 A's, availability, accessibility, affordability, acceptability. For a resource to materialize to a good extent, we need to do all of the 4 things. Think of a particular energy resource that has led to its full potential. Solar, is it not available to everyone? Is solar panels are not available to everyone? Accessibility to everyone? लगा रखे हैं ना solar panels ऊपर अपने roof पे. Is it not affordable? A bit expensive, but still people are aspiring for it. So it is within their future range at least. The acceptability, people have accepted it. Nuclear power project. Why people are not able to accept it, despite it is great in terms of renewable energy resource. So acceptability, the social factor has also should be there in order to make a particular resource maximize to its full potential. Because ultimately it is the source of energy for whom? For us. Geopolitics of fossil fuel. You should mention about IR. in the geography, wherever you feel the scope of it. Transition pathways. Do not compartmentalize your knowledge that, okay, if it is a geography question, I'll be writing only geography points. No. Go beyond that. Understood? Like if even UPSC is not doing that. UPSC is linking internal security to Indian society in GS1. That what threats, internal security challenges pose to Indian society. So you need to have all the aspects and just be free. Show as many broad dimensions as you can. In this way, you will be generate more points and you will show more application of your knowledge. Third theme, agriculture, food security and transformation. Agriculture से याद रखना spice. Spice. So if a question comes on agriculture, क्या ही आएगा agriculture में? Crops or the ecosystem or the components of the agriculture. Okay, so spice. From S, soil and climate suitability. P, policy and institutional support. If a particular agriculture ecosystem is there, it is not only about the field, it is about the other factors as well. The market distribution, the government policies, the industry's availability, the transportation. So don't restrict yourself to the field only whenever you're talking about the agriculture. I is infrastructure and technology. E-NAM, warehouses, sits. You must be reading about that. C is crop. Crop specific factors. Basic crop factors, and if a crop comes that is very unique and it was not at all expected, believe me, nobody knows it except for the geography option people. So keep your calm, write generic points, drop the keywords, sound technical, that's it, move on. E is economic and market linkages. ठीक है? So template. Green evolution not needed. Climate agriculture nexus. You have to link the climate to the agriculture. Food security pillars. Again, what is the food security pillar? Availability, accessibility, utilization, and stability. Given by FAO. What is FAO? UPSC asked a question in prelims as well on FAO. Okay? So mention these 4 dimensions if a question comes on food security. Where? In conclusion. What better conclusion can it be? You are using an international organization motto or vision or objective in the conclusion. Availability, accessibility, utilization, stability. Okay. India's food export transformation. Crop localization factors. Agro-processing industry, again very important. Schemes regarding it. PM Mitra. There are many. Sorry. Environmental issues, nutrition transition. How we are focusing more on millets. Mention such things. If a question comes on monoculture agriculture, do not restrict yourself to only that how it is degrading the environment or how it is leading to other things. Mention or lead or somehow link it to the millets. Then somehow link it to the nutritional and food security. Don't just restrict yourself to things like crop rotation and such things. Show the significance of that transition, that why it is needed. Agriculture is linked to food security. Why do we do agriculture? To make ourselves secure in terms of food availability. Climate adaptation in agriculture, another important thing. Climate smart agriculture, nanotechnology in agriculture, use of science and technology of GS3 in agriculture. Agriculture is an important topic itself of GS3, and it is the topic in GS1 as well. But I would suggest you that if there is any scope to use science and tech of GS3 in GS1, please do that. Not very high or very scientific terms, but climate smart agriculture, nanotechnology usage in agriculture. You can use it because a geographic lecturer who is checking your copy knows about these things at least. Fourth is urban geography. What is it? It is related to cities, migration, urban planning, management. Infrastructure, heat islands. The questions are heat islands, smart cities, smart villages, air pollution, urban flooding, urban mass transport, again urban flooding, migration to large cities. So if a question comes on urban pull-push plan, you have to give the pull factors, then you have to give the push factors. Pull factors of cities, tell me. Education opportunities, better standard of living, employment, better opportunities for employment, health facilities, education availability, the glamorous life that people think that urban people are living, accessibility of resources, social acceptance, the blurring of the caste line. It is relatively less in urban areas, though it is in covert form, I believe. It is there, but it is not, it is in the covert form. Okay, so these things, mention these things because human geography. Okay, and then there are push factors from rural areas. The same factors, the dearth of resources, no diversification of employment opportunities, the decreasing productivity of agriculture, less accessibility to health and education. Okay. Then finally, the planning. How can we do that? To not only focus on smart cities, to focus on smart villages as well. We have to make our villages smart. So much so that we do not picture smart cities as the American dream. Okay. What are the templates in that regard? First is push factors, pull factors. Then the issues regarding the urban aspects. What are the issues? Unplanned cities, good. And slum and overcrowding and poor sewage system, urban flooding, heat island effects, pollution. Can be written. आसपास देख लो. Human geography is a relatively easier topic to prepare. Urban body losses, water body losses. Okay. Aspirational district or urban convergence. Relatively easier topic. Urban. Okay. Fifth is water management, applied and policy dimensions. Again, water scarcity, micro watershed, Indus water treaty, inland waterways, floods to groundwater harvesting, blue revolution, water stress, interlinking rivers. Basically, water scarcity, one more, flooding and interlinking of rivers. इसी के आसपास highly probable topics. What is the mnemonic? Harvest. water harvesting, water harvest. H, harnessing resources. What are the harnessing resources of water? A, allocation and governance. Please remember, it is a human and economic geography. They might sound a bit generic in nature, but it is human and economic geography. R, river management. V, value addition, navigation, fisheries. E, ecological flow. S, storage, proper storage should be there. T, treaty and transboundary dimensions, both interstate and inter-country. Okay, because water disputes, river disputes. Groundwater crisis causes, what are the causes for the same? Urban rainwater harvesting, micro watershed development benefits, another good way forward. Micro watershed development benefits, inland waterways, an important topic. Very straightforward question comes. Even if a question is tweaked a bit, the content is more or less the same. Language change हो जाती है, content वही आता है. How many inland waterways? Any act, or if a government is having a vision with it, then my question is not favor, then mind has rotating with 360. Okay. Then a diagram where you'll be charting out what are the major inland waterways, advantages, what are the challenges or limitations, way forward, conclusion. A set conclusion. Inland waterways, an important theme. Prepare conclusion beforehand. Use AI, free version. I'm not asking you to take a pro. Okay. Inland waterways challenges, Indus Water Treaty, Blue Revolution related to fisheries, flood drought paradox, river interlinkages, an important theme. Okay. Finally, the last theme is population, human development, and regional disparity. Question comes like demographic winter, population management, an important topic which we generally ignore. But why it is important? Because first of because of the census. Second, there is a lot of talk about population declining, that how TFR is going below 2.1 across the countries. Andhra Pradesh has become one of the few states to give some incentive for the third child. Again, it might seem very current, but it is static in nature. So it's advisable that you prepare such things beforehand. Okay. What is the mnemonic? Depth. How you'll be preparing this topic? First, you'll be talking about demographic structure. What is the demographic structure in general? Then you'll be talking about E, how a good population, both in terms of numbers and scale, is related to economic growth. Then you'll be linking it to the poverty and inequality. It is generally perceived that more the number of people or larger the population, the higher the poverty. But it can go the other side as well. It is very stereotyping of that. T, territorial or regional disparity. Again, last is H, health development index dimensions. HDI. What is it, HDI? Prepare the criteria of HDI. If a question comes on human development, you will be getting ready-made points. Like it is having, I think, 3 parameters, but within those 3 parameters, it is having many sub-parameters. Use it. A ready-made template for population management or human development or inclusive growth in general can be used. Understood? I used it. HDI के जो भी parameters हैं and sub-parameters, try to use it. You will be getting ample amount of points. Understood? Population, human development, and regional disparity, depth. Understood how you have to prepare your notes? First, you have to talk about the demographic structure, then economic growth linkages, then poverty and inequality. Why? Because of the disparity. You have to show it. Finally, T, territorial and regional. And finally, H, human development dimensions, index dimensions. Same thing. Very interlinkages wala part it is. Can ask about why human development lags economic growth, can link it to HDI and India status, can link to migration, it can link to developing countries, urbanization, regional disparity, many. But prepare your basic notes based on it. Depth. And then tweak it as per the context. Again, I am saying these topics or whatever I've told you are very much implementable, but I would ask you to at least prepare and revise it. Believe me, it will help you to think in the examination. आता सब कुछ है. Geography is not a subject. Geography इतना detail में पढ़ते हैं in the prelims. It's not that we do not know it. It's about to think in the right time. Okay? So this was all, whatever I could. Again, all the best.